this afternoon, I would like to remember my story, how I came across Gandhi. I did not meet Gandhi. I was only, how old was it? 36. But I was 11 years old or 12 years old when he died, when he was assassinated. So I did not see Gandhi. But in 1954, someone gave me a copy of his book, his autobiography, My Experiments with Truth, his autobiography. I was a monk. I became a monk at age 9, and at this time I was 18. And I was feeling a little bit claustrophobic. I was feeling, although I was learning quite a lot and wonderful philosophy, wonderful things I was learning, but I was feeling a little bit closed in a monastic order. But I did not know what one can do, how I can do something more than being just stuck in this monastery. And then I read this book, Autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi. And one passage in it spoke to me. It was just like it was written for me. And it said that in order to practice spirituality, you don't have to forsake the world. That one sentence stuck me. In order to practice spirituality, you don't have to forsake the world. And then he explains further and says, spirituality should not be exclusive to those who live in monastic order. Because how many people can live in monastic order? Not everybody can live. Everybody has to do farming, they have to do business, they have to do politics, they have to do education, they have to do normal things of life. Is spirituality not there for them? And so, spirituality is such that we should transform our politics, our business, our education, our domestic life, our farming life, everything should become spiritual. How do you do it? By changing your motivation. What is the purpose of your business? What is the purpose of your politics? What is the purpose of your education? What is the purpose of your domestic life, family life, having children, all that? What is the purpose? If your motivation is to control and have power over other people in politics, then that is not spiritual. If your purpose is to make more and more profit and become billionaire and status and power and position and name and fame, that's not spirituality. If you are in a teaching business in order to get your salary and make money, that's not spirituality. In anything. But if you are in politics, not for yourself, but to serve other people and serve the earth. If you are in business, not just for your own ego, but in order to provide service to the community, food to the people, clothes to the people, shoes to the people, in order to serve humanity, then it's a spiritual act. If you do gardening in the service of the soil, in the service of people who will eat your food, when your motivation is spiritual, then every action becomes spiritual. Now that really spoke to my heart. I said, I want to bring spirituality in everyday life, not just stuck in a monastic order, the only spirituality for the monks. And so one night after midnight, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, I left the monastic order, escaped from it, ran away from it, and I ended up at a Gandhian ashram, a community where they were practicing how you do anything, how you live your life with a different motivation. And so that's how I came to Gandhi, that book. And when I joined Gandhian movement, at that time, Gandhi was not alive, but the Gandhian ashram was there. And there was a very great Gandhian man, a great scholar called Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave. He has a beautiful autobiography as well called Moved by Love. It's published by Green Books in England. Moved by, have you read that?
Yeah.
Moved by Love. And that's a beautiful story. And that appealed to me because he, one night or one day, went to a place where landlords and landless were in conflict. And landless people, workers, farm workers, were killing the landlords. Naxalite movement. It's a very famous movement in India of Marxist, Maoist, communist movement. So Vinoba went to this village and he went to all the landlords and the landless people and say, how long can you go on killing each other? And how are you going to solve? If you kill, you will be put in jail, and landlords, you will be in fear always. Is there a solution to this problem, which is non-violent, which is Gandhian? As Mahatma Gandhi liberated India from political colonialism through non-violent and compassionate means, let us free India economically and socially through compassionate and non-violent means. And so he went to landless people and said, what do you want? How you can solve this problem so that you don't hate landlords, but you love your landlords and work for them nicely. So they said, we are poor, landlords employ us when there's a season, and when there's no season, we have no job. We have no land, we are hungry. What can we do? If we were given land so that we can grow our own food, in addition to working for the land, we can grow our own cotton so we can make our clothes. We can have some forest so we can build our houses. If we have land, we will stop violence. All right. Vinoba said to them, and also to all the landlords, say, this evening we are going to have a get together of all the landlords and landless together. And Vinoba calling this meeting, he was a great Gandhian scholar and a saintly man. Everybody was very, very kind of touched and moved. And so all the landlords and landless people of the village called Pochampalli, the town called a village called Pochampalli in Hyderabad state. So they all gathered in the evening under a big tree, banyan tree. And Vinoba said that there are these 40 landless families. And they have said to me that each family have 2 acres of land, 80 acres, violence will come to an end. And they will work for you and with you, and there will be harmonious community and relationship. Is there any landlord or a group of landlords who can donate 80 acres of land? We don't have to wait for government to solve our problems. We don't have to wait for the police. We don't have to wait for the courts to send them to jail. You are one village. You are one community. Without these workers, landless people, but without these workers, you have no farms. You need them. And without these landlords who know various things and how to manage things, without them, and we have this system of landlord and ownership of land, we can't change without a government system and so on. So we have to live in the situation we are. How can we solve this problem? Is there any landlord or group of landlords who will give 80 acres of land? That was a very stunning moment. And landlords looking like this, or looking like that, and looking like this. In India, land is very precious. Huge population, not enough land. You can have money, you can have anything else, but land is very precious. Nobody is prepared to give. After about 5 minutes of deadly silence, one landlord stands up and says, Vinoba, I have heard you. We want peace. We want harmony. You are absolutely right. Without these workers, farmers, farm workers, land workers, we cannot survive. And we don't want this violence to go ever and ever. Where will it lead us? Therefore, I'm very inspired, very moved, very touched. I give not 80 acres, but 100 acres. 20 acres as a common land. So they can have forests, they can have wealth, they can have some common land. Stunned. Everybody stunned. So big, the kind of miracle, like a news that a landlord is prepared to give 100 acres of land just like that. Wow. And the land laborers, the farm workers, they were so happy. Everybody clapping and saying, long live our, his name was Mr. Reddy. Long live Reddy, long live Reddy, long live Reddy. Amazing, amazing transformation. People went home very happily. All the violence ended. And Vinoba persuaded the government to release the people who were arrested because they had killed some landlords. But that night, Vinoba could not sleep. He writes about this in his book. All night he was awake, turning, tossing and turning, and saying, this problem is not only in this one village. This is a problem of India, where there are hundreds of thousands of landless, untouchables, poor people. Unless they get land, poverty is not going to be solved. We can't wait for government to change the law. That will take ages. We can't wait political parties. They never agree. I am not going back to my community. I will walk. I will walk from village to village. I'll walk from landlord to landlord and ask them to give me land. And he calculated that night that if 1/6 of land of all India was donated, there will be no landlessness in India. Everybody will be given some land, 2 acres, 3 acres, whatever, small amount of land. And in India, a small acre, 2-acre land, because it's very fertile. We can have 3 crops. It's not like England where you can have only one season of summer season. In India, you can have 3 crops because the weather is so good. And soil is fertile. And soil is so good. So it's 2 acres, 3 acres, that's good piece of land. And so Vinoba started to walk from that very day. And he walked for 15 years. 100,000 miles. North, south, east, west, center, all over India. He walked. He avoided cities. There are no landlords there. He avoided cities. He went from village to village. And he collected, will you believe it, 4 million acres of land in gifts. 4 million acres. And all that land was distributed. And doctors gave up their hospitals. Teachers gave up their schools. University professors left their university jobs. Students stopped studying. 50,000 people joined Vinoba in this movement all over India. They were going in the name of Vinoba, please give land for the poor. And the land given, distribute them, give them paper. And we organized and managed to persuade the government to make this donation legal. So that when you give this paper to the landless person, he has the right to cultivate. He will not be able to sell the land, no selling, but he can or she can cultivate the land, and also their children can cultivate the land. As long as it's a cultivation for food, you can have it. And that's the work of Gandhian movement. And 4 million acres. And the movement is still strong, still going. We don't read about it in the newspapers. But a man called Raj Gopal, who has Ekta Parishad, and he took 25,000 landless people to Delhi, marching on foot, walking, and asking government, because not all the problems of landlessness is solved, although many people got the land, but Vinoba passed away. And so this was in a kind of non-violent revolution, an example. And I felt that this is the Gandhian way of making world not just a materially good and well-being, but spiritually good and spiritual well-being. And this motivation, this is the most important thing. What Gandhi said, there is not business which is bad. We need business. Business is important. Business is good. It's not farming which is bad. We need farmers. We need even landlords. It's not politics which is bad. We need politicians. But it's the motivation. If you are doing business to serve and make profit, to balance the books, that's a good profit. Like Gandhi said, we eat. We eat to live. We eat so that I'm strong and I can serve. I can take care of my children, to my parents, to my neighbors, to my in the school, if I am teaching my children in school, students, whoever I am doing, I need to be strong, so I eat to live. That's a good motivation to eat. But if you say, I live to eat, I like food, so I want more and more good food, that's a wrong motivation. The same thing, eating can become a spiritual act if you are eating to live and serve. But if you are living to eat, your motivation is wrong. E.F. Schumacher used to tell a very nice story, I just remember. E.F. Schumacher was my friend and mentor. He was a Gandhian. His book, Small is Beautiful, it's a very Gandhian economics. If you want to learn about Gandhian economics, Small is Beautiful is a perfect book. And so he used to tell a story. There were two monks. And in those days, maybe nowadays, smoking is not so popular. Not so many people smoke. But in those days, these two monks used to smoke. You know this story? Two monks used to smoke. So they said, we are smoking, chain smoking, just smoking. And what we do with prayer and smoking, how do we combine prayer and smoking? So the monk said, we don't know how to do it. Let's go and ask our head of the monastery, the abbot. So one monk went to the abbot. Said, I have a question. Okay, what's your question? My question. He asked a question. Abbot gave the answer. And the monk came out. Then a second monk said, Sir, Abbot, I also have a question. He asked a question. Abbot gave the answer. And he came out. And then both monks met to smoke again. So the second monk asked the first monk, you went in? Did you ask the old man? What can we do? What was his answer? Oh, the abbot was very furious. He said, no. You can't do it. Not allowed. Oh, that's interesting. So the first monk asked the second monk, what did he say to you then? He said to me, carry on, carry on, carry on. Wow, two different answers. So the second monk asked the first monk, what was your question? My question was, can I smoke when I'm praying? No. You cannot smoke when you are praying. Oh, that's what you asked. So the first monk asked the second monk, then what did you ask then? I asked, can I pray when I'm smoking? Yes, you can pray anytime, all the time, praying time. You can pray. So same motivation changes your action. If you are praying while smoking, smoking might drop. You might get such in trance that you are fully one with divine spirit, divine light.
Pigeon is not listening.
Slight distraction.
I would leave him there. Yeah. He's determined to come in. He wanted to come in. So.
And so what Gandhi was saying, that being a monk and living in a monastery or living in the world and doing your normal work, whatever you do, that is not the point. The point is, what is your motivation? Why are you doing it? As you ask, what is the purpose of your action? What is the meaning of your action? What is the meaning of your life? So if we can transform our purpose, and if we do business, we do politics, we do education, we do farming with the right motivation, then work is the same, but you are doing a spiritual action. And if you are doing spiritual action, then you will take care. You will take care of your soil. You will take care of your people. It will not be for profit. It will not be for ego. There is a wonderful, I think, German economist, Otto Schamann. He has a book about economics. And he says we have to move our economics from ego to eco, from G to C. When you have ego purpose of your business or politics or whatever action you are doing, is your ego for your self-seeking, your self-promotion, your self-prestige or recognition or name, fame, award, money, whatever, power, control, then it's an ego. It's an egonomy, not economy. It's an egonomy. At the moment, we do not have economy. We have egonomy. The moment you say economy, eco means, I said already, ecos means house, home. Home. Home is a place of relationships. When you have home, father, mother, children, parents, wife, husband, neighbors, brothers, sisters, that is a home. And in home, you cannot afford to have an ego. Even your daughter or son can say, Father, that's not right. You can't afford to have an ego. Or mother, you are not right. You have to look after each other. That's a home. Home is a place of relationship, not self, but we share. Whatever wealth you have, you share with your family. Your children inherit your wealth. And your wife, husband, children, everybody share. So that sharing, that ecos, home, and economy is a management of home. So if we can have economy, it will be a very good thing. But we don't have economy. We have egonomy. So we have to change. And that's, I think, very Gandhian. If we move from ego to eco, and from your kind of self-centered, self-seeking purpose to serving, taking care, then Rabindranath Tagore called it economy of a gardener. Gardener is a carer. Gardener does not control the garden. Gardener takes the care of the plants. Caring and sharing. That's the kind of economy, caring and sharing. So if you are a teacher, you are a gardener of children. If you are in a hospital doctor, you are a gardener for the sick and what caring. It's not curing, but caring. There is no cure. As long as we have this body, there will be some disease, some problem. Some people have headaches, some people have heart problems, some people have a skin problem, somebody has something else. We always have a body necessitates a little bit of aging or illness or headache or tummy upset or cold or flu or something. We can never say, I have reached a stage when I will never be ill. But it's a caring. All of your life, you take care of your body. You take care of your house. House will always have some problem. Maybe some leak somewhere, some window is rotten, some floorboard is not good. Always there will be a problem in your house. You can never say, house, now I built it, it's perfect, and never any problem. So caring for the house. So in the same way, garden. I've been gardening in my garden for 35 years. Still I get weeds. After 35 years of weeding, I still get weeds. Although June had more or less got rid of couch grass, but still sometimes you get docks. It never ends, as you know it. Never ends. But it's never to end. We don't want that to end. Because if you have ended in a perfect garden, you have nothing to do. So as long as you have weeds coming, you have a gardening work to do. You take the weeds out and say, thank you, weed, for coming in the garden. I'll take you and put you in the compost. That's your bed. Rest there. Become soil again. That's a gratitude. Become soil again. So you are not thinking that weeds are bad. Weeds are the compost for tomorrow. of the garden. So Rabindranath Tagore had a beautiful book called Gardener, and he's used gardener as a metaphor. So you are a gardener of life. You are a gardener in everything. So if you are a gardener, then you are a trustee. That's a kind of not ownership, but trusteeship. Gandhi called it trusteeship. Rabindranath Tagore called it a gardener, and Otto Schama calls it not egonomy for economy. Idea is the same. What is your motivation? What is your purpose behind your action? If your purpose and motivation is spiritual, then, and the spirituality is very important, because in our material world, we think what matters is what you can measure matters, and what you cannot measure does not exist. Whereas Gandhi said there are spiritual values. Spiritual values bring us into relationship. It's a relationship. So all the qualities of spirituality that Gandhi talked about, compassion, love, service, generosity, they are all about relationship. If you have no relationship, there is no love. So love is to connect. You love a tree, you love a person, you love a man, you love a woman, you love children, you love poetry. You are relationship. So love is nothing but relationship. Generosity. You have to be generous to somebody. Kindness, compassion, to something, to animals, to birds, to somebody suffering, somebody in pain, somebody wounded. You are compassionate. You help them. You take care of them. So all the spiritual qualities are basically good relationship with the other. How can you measure relationship? You can measure a table or a chair or a house or land. You can measure matter, but you cannot measure your compassion. You cannot say, I have a ton of friendship, or I have a kilo of friendship, or I have a 10 feet of friendship, or I have a 10 meter of friendship. You cannot measure compassion, kindness, love. I was interviewed by Richard Dawkins. Actually, he has put my interview with him on YouTube, I think. And he said, Mr. Kumar, it's spiritual, it's all mumbo jumbo. I don't believe it, it's all flaky. I said, Mr. Dawkins, do you know the meaning of the word spirit? What do you mean? I said, spirit comes from breathing. Inspirare, expirare. When you don't believe in breathing, you are expired. You don't believe in breathing? Don't you believe in breathing? And what is breathing? Breathing is relationship. We breathe together. We are breathing the same air together. We are drinking the same water together. We are eating the same food together. So sharing, breathing together. This is why breath is so classic teaching of the Buddha, of Jesus Christ, of Hindu meditation. Breathing, when you are singing, you say breathe from your diaphragm. Breathe. Breathing is connecting. Through breath, we connect. It's a breath of God, breath of life, we connect. And so, for Gandhi, spirituality is a complementary to science. Science and spirituality are not opposite to each other. They are not in conflict. Science and spirituality go together. So when you are relating to the external world, the landscape, the nature, external world, and how we can live in harmony with the external world, that's science. When you go into internal world, how we can cultivate compassion, love, friendship, generosity, all these kind of beautiful sense of service, all these are inner landscape. So outer landscape and inner landscape, they are both complementary. Like you have an ocean. The surface of the ocean is very big, Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean, very big. But the depth of the ocean is also very big. And only few people dive and discover the coral reefs and wonderful fish and wonderful life there. But we don't know that there is so much life. Only you have to be a diver to go under the sea. So many people don't know the inner world. We are only interested in the external world and the matter. So science is about matter. So science is needed. Science and spirituality should go together. Even Einstein, a scientist, and was a great friend of Gandhi. They were good friends. And when Gandhi died, Einstein cried. And he said, it'll be impossible to believe in generations to come that a man like Gandhi in flesh and blood walked on this earth. He had a great love and respect for Gandhi and also for Tagore. They met. Tagore also met Einstein. And Einstein said that without spirituality, science is blind. Einstein said it. Scientist. It's not Richard Dawkins. It's Einstein. And so science without spirituality is blind, and spirituality without science is lame. That's an Einstein quote. And so science needs spirituality, spirituality needs science. So the motivation comes from spirituality. And action comes from science. Action is outside. So you make business, you make politics, you make medicine, you make domestic life. That's all external, and that is informed by our technology, techniques, tools, and science. Rational, thinking, analytical, all that very necessary. We need it for external world. But then it's not end. We also need internal world. And so spirituality. We also need compassion, relationship, friendship. So Mahatma Gandhi is not against science, but science should be in relationship with spirituality. And Gandhi also said the spirituality without science can be very problematic, because you can be a fundamentalist. So this fundamentalism, Hindu fundamentalism, or Muslim fundamentalism, or Christian fundamentalism, dogmatism, narrow thinking, that is all because we don't have a scientific understanding and scientific mind. So we become very narrow, dogmatic, fixed ideas. So spirituality is not fixed. Spirituality is not dogmatic. It's what we call free spirit. Air is not dogmatic. If you don't have air flowing, room becomes stale. And that kind of stuffy. Room becomes stuffy. So you have to open the doors and windows so the fresh air can come and go. In the same way, science brings you that understanding that let the new ideas, new thinking, fresh ideas, let them emerge. Let them come like a fresh air, free spirit. So spirituality is not dogmatic. It's not fundamentalism. It's not fixed in temple or church or books or Bible or Quran or Bhagavad Gita or any guru or anything like that. Spirituality in everybody. We are all spiritual beings. We are not only physical beings. We are spiritual beings. And if we don't recognize our spirituality, then we are only living in our body. We are not living in our whole life and whole soul and the spirit. And so science and spirituality for Gandhi are complementary. And if we can have those two together, marriage of science and spirituality, then we can have a beautiful life. And nothing we do has to go. Just motivation changes, and by changing motivation, bringing spirituality into the play, we can make good business, good politics, good farming, good education, good medicine, good life. Because we need good life. Gandhian way of life is not a bad that you go back to Stone Age and you don't have good food and you don't have a good, nice, beautiful house, or you don't have crafts and you don't have arts. That's not, Gandhi is not backward. This idea, the modern world thinks that if you are doing farming and if you are living in villages, that's a backward, and the progress is only if you live in London or New York or Tokyo or Paris and have a kind of computers and robots and a kind of aeroplanes, that's a progress and development. And if you are doing farming, that's not development. If you are growing food, that's a backward. Only uneducated peasants. You are a peasant. Peasant has become poor name, bad name. What is wrong with peasant? Peasant farmers are very good and cultivating the soil. So when President Truman, after the Second World War, when the United Nations first time met after Second World War, one of the things he said in his speech was, the world is divided into two sections: developed world and undeveloped world, or underdeveloped world. Actually, I think he said undeveloped world. So the countries which live by industry, science and technology and industry, like Europe and America, are the developed world. And the countries which live by agriculture, like Africa and India and South America, are the underdeveloped or undeveloped world. So if you live by land, you are undeveloped. If you live by industry in the cities, you are developed. This is a complete, Gandhi challenged that notion of development. Development, what is actually destruction. When you go this field where we walk, people will call it undeveloped land. And if you build a casino there, it will be developed. Or a hotel, developed. Or you build a helipad. Helipad, what do you call it? Helipad. Helipad. If you build a helipad, it will be developed. Yeah? You pollute the air, you destroy the soil, it will be development. So that notion Gandhi challenged. So development does not mean just a kind of technological robotic lifestyle. Development is development of the spirit, development of motivation, development of your purpose. What is the purpose of your farming and gardening? And so living by soil, living by your arts, living by your crafts, that's a Swadeshi. That's a Swadeshi idea, is that agriculture, craft, that should not be demeaned. At the moment, we don't value agriculture. So we say, we all want to eat food, but we don't want to grow. Growing should be done somewhere. They were educated, Oxford, Cambridge, Bristol, Edinburgh, big universities. We are educated. We don't want to touch the soil. If you are working in a bank, you get £1,000 a day or more. If you are working as a farm laborer, you get maybe, if you are lucky, get £80 or £100 a day. Why? Gandhi will ask why. Is fiddling with figures on your computer with bank money, is that more important than a real food without which we cannot live? So if Gandhi was asked, he would say a banker should be paid maybe £100 a day, and a farmer and a farm worker should be paid £1,000 a day. Because without food, we cannot live. I mean, at the moment, a bottle of milk is less than a bottle of water. You pay more for a bottle of water. So Gandhi's idea is to become real. Come to your senses that real life is food, water, air, soil. If soil is contaminated, if water is contaminated, if air is contaminated, if we are not honoring our soil and farming and food, and we are just in technology and aeroplanes and computers and televisions and everything else, that's only icing on the cake. The technology and science are icing on the cake. The cake is air, fire, water, space, soil, food, clothes, house. This is the cake. And your iPhones and your cameras with two thumbs, they are icing. You can have the icing, but keep the cake. Sometimes without even icing, cake is okay. But without cake, icing is not okay. And so Gandhi is only asking you to look after the cake and then put icing on it. He has no problem. He's not against technology. He is in favor of science. He's in favor of everything. But the motivation is wrong. Our motivation at the moment is make profit, make profit. So you are running the school to make profit. You are running medicine, pharmacy, boots to make profit. You are farming, producing food to make profit. You are, everything is measured in money. If something is not making profit, it's not good. Profit is only a means to an end. Money is a good invention as a means to an end, as a means of exchange. But money, when it becomes a master and you are doing everything for money, then money is not a good thing. Money becomes bad. So Gandhi is not against money. How you use the money. Use it as a means of exchange and not as a master. So idea of Swadeshi is a very broad-ranging, and it is only saying that we need to learn to live in harmony with our place, where we are, neighboring place, and everything else should be in our consciousness. I think in a nutshell, that's Swadeshi.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.